What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Stu in Scream 6. Now, this is not your normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill YouTube channel, just saying Stu's returning in Scream 6. No, I want to be a little bit different. I'm not going to say flat out that he shouldn't, but what I want to do in this video is I want to talk about it. And I want to talk about kind of the narrative that they've built, in my opinion, themselves, and obviously the narrative that the fans have built, and talk about, if it would actually be a good idea, or what are the odds, and kind of go from there. So we got a lot to talk about, so let's kind of jump in. So here's the deal. I do want to say this first. I've said this in live streams. I think this is the most important thing. This is nobody's fault but theirs. And I'm going to blame radio silence. I'm going to blame Scream, the film franchise. And that's good, controversial to say to say the least. But the dislike button is right there if you guys want to exercise your free will. But no, in my opinion, okay, I think honestly the talk about Stu is music to the ears of anybody working on that movie, because what it means is that fans care, okay? That word caring is very important. Fans actually have passion about a character that maybe or maybe not died 25 years ago, okay? In the first movie of a 5-movie saga that's now going into 6. Now, you can call it a lot of words of people not wanting to let it go, or maybe rightly so, not letting it go. I don't want to pick sides. I don't want to upset anybody, and it's not even for the sake of not upsetting people. I want you guys to think on your own. I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's not the point of my YouTube channel, is to just kind of have these conversations. So, I truly do believe that if they wanted this to stop, okay, and I've said that in live streams before, if they wanted people to just shut up, they would say something, they would do something, because they actually have the power very easily to do it. The thing that surprised me, shocked me the most out of the entire Scream 5, okay, at least in the narrative of Stu, is they did the Easter egg of the real life Stu Macher alive. Now, again, that was kind of a meta thing, because they're talking about the Stu that died in Stab. So they're talking about, is the real Stu, the Stu in the movies, right, in Scream 1, is he still alive? So it's, meta, nicely. I like it. I mean, I think it's very actually clever, a nice little Easter egg. But here's the deal. You don't help yourself with people that are doing this, talking about, because I know, all right, that there is a divided fandom in terms of Stu. There's people that violently want him back, okay, and they're really passionate, and they think it's a good move. And then you have people that say, absolutely not, and just are violently against that, okay? You really do. And no, I don't even think it's an even 50-50 split, but those two groups 100% exist. And again, by the way, I don't actually think it's wrong to have those groups whatsoever. To me, or again, in my opinion, I think it's music to the ears of them. They're saying, oh my God, they care. They won't shut up about it. They're still talking about it. And again, I know that maybe that comes off a little passive aggressive, but I'm just joking, okay? These are all just jokes. That's truly, I think they love it, because it's wow, people are still discussing this idea. So that's the first thing I kind of want to just get out there in the beginning, is that they could stop this at any point, all right? And I've said this before, you could just mention a grave or a funeral or a cemetery or him being dead. It's a small town. Now, you could even make that argument to defend or to back the claim that Stu is dead, right? Where it's such a small town, if he was alive, if he survived, they would have known, they would have been, somebody would have said it. Word spreads fast around there. So, you could make that argument. But yet again, how would Scream 3 then have... Well, yet again, Scream 2 left, right? Went to college. Then Scream 3 went to Hollywood. So, but it wasn't going to go to Hollywood. So how was that exactly going to play out in the beginning, in the first place, when they were going to, supposed to bring him back? So, I don't know if there's a perfect way to do it, but I am sure if they wanted to shut people up about Stu, they could just say... And it would be forcing it. It would. But it would be for the purpose of just giving people clarity and having a conclusion to this tale. You know what I mean? That's what it would be about. And so I think just somebody could say it at some point. You know what I mean? Or we never found the body. You could do it the opposite way, right? So that could easily, be said. Now, to the idea of, is this a good idea? I'm not going to be as violently opposed or for it, as I'm going to kind of be almost right down the middle. I could see ways that it would work. I don't see it as being impossible. I also don't see, them bringing back Matthew Lillard in some capacity as that being impossible. If they did it with Billy, now they connected like a bloodline, so obviously it makes a little bit more sense than if you did it with Stu. And I'm not saying you would bring Stu back through hallucinations of a character, but I'm sure there would be a way to do it. There also would obviously be the way of bringing back Stu, from the dead in the first place, or not from the dead, depending on how you view it. But in terms of, is it a good idea? That's always been the thing that I've tried to attack that point, because could it happen? Sure. Could it not happen? Sure. But would it actually work? Well, again, I'm not super for or super against it, but I will say in the against category, okay, you have a character that mainstream people probably don't know too much or care too much about. Now, the diehards do, but again, you have to wonder, and I'd love to know this, and I don't really know if there's any way of knowing this, but what is the population of people that go to see these movies? What is that like? What's the demographic? Who are the what does Die Hard mean? I mean, obviously, again, it gets so messed up that there's no way you could ever tell. But who are the people that actually would know and care versus the people that are just going to see it for fun, or this is their first Scream movie, or this would now be their second Scream movie, right? The Scream 5 was their first one. Now Scream 2 is their, or 6 is their second one, right? What is the breakdown? Because I said going into 5, I just don't know how many people would actually even know or care about Stu. Now, clearly, he's a character that's still, they mentioned his name multiple times. His name is dropped right in the... In fact, it's even dropped kind of weirdly, where it was a trick question on purpose to get Tara, where it's who's the killer? Billy. Well, it's Billy and Stu. So it's almost thrown in. It's don't forget about Stu Macher. Which was actually kind of weird, because it's are you trying to say something about Stu that he's kind of forgotten, even though the ending of this and the whole idea of this movie was that it would take place at the ending at Stu's house, which was the main sell of the film. So maybe a little weird overall, but you know what I mean? So I don't know how many people just think to Billy or even care in the first place. You know what I mean? Because these are new characters. We're continuing to move on. Years have passed. I don't know how many people from the originals are still going to see these. All of that stuff. We don't have any of that data. So, would it work? I'm sure it's possible. I don't know why Stu would go. Well, no, I guess people have made a pretty okay point of why Stu would now go after Sam because of the Billy connection. So you've now linked Sam with Billy, which means you can now link Stu with Sam. Because, I don't know if it would make sense. In fact, I don't think it would for him to go back after Gail and Sydney. You know what I mean? It's been so many years, and now the focus of the actual film is off of them. So to have the killer want them as their primary target doesn't really make as much sense, right? So, I think you could do it. Is it wanted? I mean, I do think people want it, but I also think a lot of people don't want it. I don't know if it would kill the franchise if you did it. I really think you could do worse things, but you could probably also do better things. But I don't know. The biggest thing that I just find so funny is I will blame them. They've done it to themselves. Now, they've only had possession of this film franchise for, a couple years and only one movie, right? So it's not like they've had it for decades, or they could have done something in 4, right? Because obviously, I don't even know. Was the conversation there around 4? Because I wasn't around really, so I don't really, I didn't participate in. I didn't really know, but this is the first time they've had control of it. But what's just funny about it is because you had so many people talking about it, so many, and instead of coming out there and saying no, for sure. Now, you could say there was stuff behind the scenes, that the TikTok account with that girl, right? I believe she declared Stu is dead. I think even the directors at some point said he's dead, and I think they said that out loud. So they have done that, and you could easily. But yet again, things can very easily. I mean, they're the directors, they're not the writers. So unless people have seen Guy and Jamie or heard them specifically say Stu is completely dead, there's absolutely no chance. And even then, they could just lie, right? That's the sad thing, is Hollywood literally is a cesspool of liars. So you don't even, I'm not saying they're evil or anything, but, it's just people that lie for a living. In fact, that's the whole point of Hollywood. That's just how it is. So even if they said something, I don't even know if you could take it at face value. But the funny thing to me is, instead of stopping it, instead of just throwing something. I mean, this would have been the movie, right? Because of the house. You could have even had Amber say, yeah, I went to his grave. I was a big fan of Stu. Like, you could, like, honestly, that maybe would have made sense, right? No, they weren't so like into Billy and Stu as much as they were about trying to give new material and try to recreate, in a way, the first Stab movie or the first Scream movie. They were more into that than to like be Billy and Stu, which was a little bit more about what obviously Jill wanted. But like, you could have had Amber say something, and you could have then said, "Oh, well, Stu's dead. All right, we nailed it." Instead, though, they made an Easter egg. Not mocking. They made an Easter egg like poking fun at the entire situation, but also not giving an answer. And so that's just gonna. The people will not stop this, and I don't like. I know some people out there, because I see on Twitter some people get pretty mad at this kind of stuff. There are people that are just so done with the Stu talk, but I don't know. I would say direct your anger at these people that are the fans, that just want Stu back. Maybe direct your anger to Radio Silence, because they're the ones who didn't like stop anybody from doing this, right? They actually added more fuel to it. So, and I'm not blaming them. I'm not saying that's a bad thing or a wrong thing. I'm just saying factually that is what happened, and people, I think, need to realize that. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. If you want to follow me anywhere else, my Twitter, my second YouTube channel, our Patreon and YouTube memberships, all in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next video.